pipeline.
Joseph Elliott Cruz.
Hey, yo.
Yes, it's the Ant-Man and Loganator on Ringside Rumble Radio.
We're here live with J.J. Dillon. Thanks for joining us, J.J. Dillon. How are you?
My pleasure.
JJ, I gotta ask you, being a part of the Four Horsemen for so long, what was your favorite, I guess, incarnation of the group, since there are so many members?
Well, the pat answer I always give is I love them all because I made money with all of them. But I can't just pick one out. The first group with Ole will always be special to me because without that group with Ole, the others I don't necessarily think would have ever happened. In terms of Luger was second, and Luger was the right place, the right time. The third grouping with Barry Windham, to me, in terms of in-ring product, anytime any combination of that group was involved, once that bell rang, there was no better grouping than those. Anything out of any combination of those five, let alone a dream match of getting all five in the ring at one time.
Now, when they did the reformation in '98 on that Nitro, what was that feeling like? Because it just got such fanfare. You were in North Carolina, the whole with the fans in the back. How was it just bringing them back in '98?
Any time that we can get together is special. And then as time passes, the more time passes, it seems that those things aren't as frequent. So when they do happen, it really is a special moment. And I know it is for the fans because that's what they tell me. And in all honesty, it is for me too, because I don't see these. We've scattered all directions. We live different places. Some by nature, because I'm a very private person. It's not like I have a call list that I speak to on a regular basis. So when we can all get together, it is special for me personally.
And I know during that time, Rick was having issues with Eric Bischoff. How was your, relationship with Eric Bischoff? Was he good to work with? I know it was a lot of people blame him for the end of WCW. So how did you feel working with him?
I wouldn't want to publicly place blame on any one individual, but I think with Eric was the right place, the right time. He had some exposure to the wrestling profession working for Vern Gagne, but I'm told that he never really had any meaningful responsibilities up there. I don't want to go. If I say, well, he was, somebody that ran for coffee, that sounds demeaning. So I wouldn't want to say that, but I haven't heard anybody say that he had a meaningful role in Vern's organization. But that was the reputation that he came in with, that he was one of the Vern's key guys, and he never made a point of want to correct it. So, and a lot of times in the business, you take a rumor or something that gets perpetuated, and if it enhances your career, you go with it. So that doesn't make him a bad guy.
You said not having too much experience when he came in. You kind of get to see that a little bit now with some of the writers that are in wrestling. Does that bother some of the people who have been in the business the whole time when they've worked so hard to get where they were, and then there's other guys that are just coming in just to write the scripts and stuff like that, making it more script-based?
I think there's a generation that followed my generation that didn't really have the experience that I had. I'm old school, and going back to the regional territory days where we were responsible for our own personas, and what we did with our interviews were a key part of developing our own individual persona, trying to make yourself different from everybody else. When writers came along, it kind of like, to me, you can't. Professional wrestling is such a niche sport that to take somebody who was a key writer, producer, or whatever in Hollywood or movies or television, that doesn't necessarily translate to success in the professional wrestling business because it is so unique and different.
Now, Ric Flair will always be kind of the guy for the NWA. Him, Dusty. We also have someone else that's coming here today, Sting. What are your thoughts on him and his career and how he's played into the just professional wrestling itself?
Sting was the right place at the right time. I remember that for all of the notoriety and attention that Ric Flair drew, whether it's Flair, Dusty, Piper, you pick out whoever you want. You can't put them in a ring in one corner and not have somebody meaningful in the opposite corner. That's really what you need, an antagonist and a protagonist, and that's what makes professional wrestling so great. So I was fortunate enough to be in the business at a time where the depth of talent was so deep, and whether I was with Flair and the Horsemen, we wouldn't have been as successful as we were if we didn't have people across the ring that the people wanted to see those guys kick our butts, to be honest.
And you have Cody Rhodes here today. What do you have about him and working with Dusty back in WCW as well?
Well, I was very close with Dusty, both in the ring as the bell rang, but behind scenes, we were very, very close. So I would go to his home at times, and so I watched the boys grow up from small children. So I look at him today, and I went into the room as soon as he made eye contact with me, dropped what he was doing, came to me, because that's how far back our relationship goes. But I just think to be raised in the house with the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, with the flow of people that constantly were coming in and out of his life, had to be something that would remain with you, and that they would be positive, good memories that you would think about.
And you can't be surprised, like, with him creating this all in and being the promoter now that he is, that he gets that from his dad.
Yeah, I think Dusty, for all of his talent, was an entrepreneur too. He always looked at the business side of it, knowing that he was a big part of what the business was trying to sell, and his kids had to see that and observe it. And if they were paying any attention at all, if they were going to have longevity, the Dusty family name was only going to go so far. That may get your foot in the door, but then you got to be able to deliver something unique and special if you're going to have longevity.
Before we let you go, JJ, can you tell us a little bit about your podcast that you're doing?
Yeah, it's something that I don't listen to podcasts, and I've been doing mine for over a year, and I've never listened to one of the episodes. So somebody had to talk me into doing it. I thought, after a couple of weeks, I'm going to run out of things to say. No, trust me. Historically, you got so much that you can talk about. And so it's been going on for over a year, and it's just something that I worried initially, because I don't want my name to be associated with something that is not successful, and if I didn't feel confident about it. So I jumped in with the thought, okay, I'm going to give this a try and see how it goes, because they convinced me that it would go, and I've been very, very happy with the results.
And where can we find the podcast so you can promote it?
I think it's jjdillon.com. I've never listened to it, so if you do a Google search, I'm sure you'll find it.
Well, JJ, thank you so much. Thank you for your contributions to pro wrestling, and thank you for your time.
I appreciate it. Thank you.